12 minutes past 9 here on Kiwi.
The Geek Show.
Yes, joining us from the Geek Show, 2 3's rather than 2e's.com. It is Chelfyn with us this morning. Good morning to you, Chelfyn.
Good morning, Wammo.
And nice to have you along. It's that time of the year where we start wrapping things up with top 10 lists and the best of the year. But today's, of course, or this year is very special because it wraps up a whole decade.
Yeah, I know, 2010. So, all the columnists are going mad with top 10s.
Yeah, and you've put together your top 10 emerging and breaking technologies of the decade.
Yeah, I figured there's enough top 10 movies or enough top 10 geek devices. What I've tried to pick on here, and I've taken a few liberties, but the top 10 technologies which I think have emerged in the last 10 years that we've reported on with the Geek Show, that I think are actually going to have a really big impact in the next 10 years.
Okay.
So that's kind of my little brief that I've given myself when trying to track down this list.
All right, let's roll through them.
So let's roll through it because there's a lot to talk about here. Number one, right, big thing for the next 10 years, augmented reality, right, which is basically all the advantages in computer vision, high-resolution GPS so that you're aware of where you are, cameras on your cheap phones, cheap multi-axis accelerometers, so from Wii Remote, so your phones know where they are and where they're facing. All this stuff will bring the online world and the real world together.
I'm really excited about that one, and we're already starting to see it on some of the like the iPhone and the Android phones as well.
Yeah, it's starting on phones. It'll quickly move to displays on glasses, and already there's technology for displays on implanted lenses.
Great. What's next?
So that's all very exciting. Next one, I've lumped a couple of things in together because they work so well. Wireless power and wireless data. So recently demoed Witricity systems, which use a magnetic resonant coupling, not radio waves, to transmit energy.
Okay.
So this means no more cables to all our small bits of gear. And ubiquitous fast wireless as a total game changer. So the ability to move, this gives you the ability to move all of your processing, powering, and sensing technology into the walls, away from the devices. The devices just have to communicate where they are and have things on them. So this takes me into the third thing that's going to happen, the robot revolution. The one that's been 10 years away for the last 70 years or so.
Finally, you reckon? Finally, you reckon?
Yes. Yeah. We've been promised some sort of robot revolution for at least half a decade. And I think within the next 10 years, we'll have robots that can walk. We've already got robots that can run at 7 kilometers an hour. We've got Big Dog that might have 4 legs, but you can push that while it's running and it won't fall over. There's little robots now that can break dance really well. I've seen robotic paddles that can bounce super balls faster than a human eye can follow. This is stuff that's already here. Put that 10 years down the line where, say, all the motors in their joints can be powered externally and all the computing that they need can be in the walls, not around on them. All you'll need is a few sticks put together by these clever remote-powered motors and sensors on them. A lot of the sensors could be in the walls. You don't have to have the eyes on the robot to know where the robot is.
Sure.
So I think all the tools are in place for a robot revolution very soon. Leading on, once we've got these robots running around, real-time language translation. Once again, this is something where all the parts are there waiting for assembly. We've got fast, accurate speech recognition now. We've got all the available computing power for mobile devices by using computing on the cloud or by having the new fast mobiles that we've got. Lightweight, wireless, noise-cancelling microphones like the new Jawbones that subtract the outside noise from the noise from your bones to give you just what you're saying. This makes it very easy for speech recognition. That used to be difficult, subtracting all the noise. Now it's easy.
Yeah.
Real-time online translation tools and then realistic vocal synthesis, they're all available. Package that all together and you've got a Babel fish.
Yeah, I was going to say that, yeah.
Yeah. So let's hope it doesn't bring about more and bloodier wars than anything else in the history of our technology. Recently, actually, I played with a device. It was a small mobile device, cost $100, and it was loaded up with Wikipedia. So it was effectively the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Wow.
For real. I grew up thinking that was a piece of science fiction.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine pulled one out of his pocket the other day.
Wow, that's amazing.
Which I thought was quite amazing.
Yeah.
So if you marry all of these technologies up together, which I've already mentioned, and then hook yourself into them, you've got telepresence anywhere on the planet. Robots you could wander around in, and that'll reduce our need for fossil fuels. Global travel will become instantaneous. We won't need jetpacks or super fast planes to get somewhere. We'll just move our telepresence into a different robot body.
You'll have your own avatar.
Yeah. Only hopefully better than some of the recent film efforts. Anyway, moving rapidly on, sixth most important thing, finally a commercialized space race. The first X Prize has been won. New Zealand's in on the act, which is just awesome.
Yeah.
And the old space industry was driven by two forces, communication and military, and that's limited it to low Earth orbit and restricted it in scope. But now small private companies are getting up there to put telepresent robots up there. That could start a new space construction industry, and space tourism is finally starting. So I think that'll explode this decade as well.
Great.
Driven by, number 7, nanotechnological and material science. So aside from Eric Drexler's dreams of little robots fixing things in your bloodstream, which is still decades away, the nanotechnological breakthroughs we've had with carbon nanotubes and the ability to control structure at that scale has given us a whole new load of materials, lighter, stronger, with better and stranger magnetic and electronic capabilities than we've ever had before.
Great.
So that's unleashing a whole new load of science. As is number 8, neurobiology and mind-machine interfacing. The Luke Skywalker's replacement arm is now a reality. I've already seen 2 of these things, one from DARPA in America to replace arms blown off soldiers primarily, and a second, which is even better, from a consortium of universities in Northern Europe, the Smart Hand. This actually gives feedback back into nerves. So as well as being able to move with 40 motors being driven from somebody's brain, this thing can detect touch and give them a sense of feeling back.
Well, that's extraordinary.
Now, that's just extraordinary. That's 5-10 years down the line, and that's, certainly a far better replacement than a hook for anybody who's lost an arm. And, these people, they haven't set their goals low. They're expecting to make these things better than human hands quite quickly. So, that excites me greatly. The final 2 things, I'm going to smoosh a lot of things in together in these because I think they all work together. But the free open source movement that's been really successful with software, most of the software that the web runs on is free open source. I think this whole ethos is going to move out from just software into other things, business models, hardware. That device I told you about before that held Wikipedia, that was on an open source piece of hardware. And I think this will be really big when applied to thing printers, 3D printers, and the things they can print. Imagine an open source 3D printer that can make open source models of anything that people can design and share.
Cool. And finally, 30 seconds for the last one.
Clean renewable energy. I'm not sure which are going to be the main things, but I don't think it's going to be big concrete towers with generators on top. I think we're looking at cheap printable solar, big kites up in the constant winds of the upper atmosphere, or here's a brilliant technology that most people don't know about, and I'm going to say a nuclear word to the Kiwis.
Uh-oh.
Liquid fluoride thorium reactors, a far safer and non-weapon prolific nuclear technology that could save the world. So Google LFTRs and find out about a possible future fuel that could power us for at least 500 to 1,000 years.
Wow, that's the top 10 list of technologies, emerging technologies of the decade, according to Chelfyn. You can find that list once again over at thegeekshow.com, 2 3s rather than 2 E's. Thanks so much, Chelfyn.
No problem.
Cheers.